last night. Now, all the things that's happening around us with one of our sisters with the sad news that her sister passed away the other day. And then yesterday we received the news that our pastor is in pain, but praise Father Yahweh, he is now at home, healing. But most times when we are beset with this kind of trials, it is for us to refine us to become pure gold one way or the other. And this song has been penned by one of those who experience sufferings in life. It is well with my soul. I will try my best to sing this song. When peace like a river attended my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance control, that Messiah has regarded my helpless estate, and hath shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. Hallelujah. Trials come and go. But for us who were chosen amongst the people, should stay. It is written that because of these trials and temptations, we will be more overcomers, because we choose the way of this life to become believers of our Rabbi Yeshua HaMashiach, who experienced the same fate, experienced sufferings and trials and tribulations during his time. And today, for his sermon, is about us, that we should not forever forget how good Father Yah is in our life. Almighty Father Yahweh, again we thank you for allowing us to be here in your sanctuary, despite of everything that had been done or what's happened. Father Yah, we trust you and we put our lives into your hands. That Father Yah, you're going to guide us always, every day of our life, because it is a blessing to see another day. It's a blessing to see another morning. And Father, we thank you for all of our blessings. Father, we thank you also for remembering our children wherever they are. Father, thank you for sending your malakim to watch over them. And Father, remind them always that it is you who give all the blessings, especially their life, every morning. To all our brothers and sisters who are suffering from any sickness or any trials and tribulations, Father Yah, we put their lives into you also. And thank you for our faith that our Rabbi Yeshua given to us as a blessings. Father Yah, give us the hearts of flesh to understand your word. And Father Yah, thank you for your Ruach HaKodesh to guide us to do your will. Father Yah, may we honor your great name. We may honor your glory, that everything we do and said and done be to your glory. And may my mouth speak your word, that I will be worthy to speak your name. For cleaning me, Father Yah, of all my unrighteousness. And thank you for the word. And may our brothers and sisters who will hear this word, may you grant us wisdom and understanding to discern it and to do your will. And may we are all worthy to be called your sons and daughters. Father, all of this we ask and thankful in the mighty name of our Rabbi, your only begotten Son, that died on the stake for our forgiveness of our sins, Yeshua HaMashiach. Hallelujah! Good morning, good morning, good morning, my dear brothers and sisters. We are here once again to remember this day as one of what you call the sign that we are the called ones. We remember today as His Sabbath, and we remember it to keep it holy. And we are here in His sanctuary to hear His word, and may we are all worthy to do His will. Praise Yah. You know, it is written in the book of Proverbs, penned by no other than the one who was considered the smartest and what you call we can say the wealthiest human being live on this earth, Solomon. Now in his writings in the book of Proverbs chapter 30 verse 8, this is what he said. Proverbs 30 verse 8, it says here, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is the Elohim? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my Elohim in vain. Now Solomon is saying here that the extremes of life, sometimes we are so have a lot in our plate that sometimes we don't even know when is tomorrow. We cried all night and we're asking Father Yah, when I'm going to see the morning. Or sometimes we are so full with the riches of the earth that sometimes we forgot who is our Elohim. But today, Father Yah gave us the word that says, you easily forget who am I in your life. These are the two things that sometimes we forgot who Father Yahweh is. When we have enough, okay? And sometimes it's more than enough that we have. We forgot Father Yah. We do the things that we want to do. Yes, it is. And those things that we did, sometimes Father Yah is not in there. We just do what we want to do. That's why Solomon said in his writings in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, "Go, young man. Do what you want to do in this life. Make yourself be happy of all the things that you think will make you happy." But then it says at the end of the day, remember, there is judgment. Or sometimes when we are at the bottom of the barrel, when we cried so much that sometimes we forgot also that Father Yahweh is there. Because we should know the word that says, even in the depths, Father Yahweh is there. But we forget that He is there too during the time of our sacrifices and efforts. During the time of trials and tribulations, Father Yahweh is there too. But we don't see Him. We just feel ourselves alone and lonely and sad. That's why Father Yah said today, how you easily forget who am I in this life. Now, we try to start going back to where Father Yah give us this faith. Now, in the book of Numbers, during the time of Moses, now remember during the time of Moses, when he took the leadership of Israelites, taking the Israelite people from captivity in Egypt for more than 400 years, we know the story. During that night of Passover, the first Passover that we know of, when Father Yah took His people from the land of Egypt, we know the story, isn't it? He parted the Red Sea. He brought manna on the wilderness. He bring forth water out of the rocks. And these Israelite people seen these miracles, and after miracles of this life. But what happened when they started to feel the hardship of wilderness? When they could not eat anything except the manna, did they remember how Father Yah is good in their life? Take a look in chapter 11, verse 5. This is what they said when they feel the heat of wilderness, when they feel the problems that besets on them in the walks of their life in the time that they were in wilderness. It's the same thing with us in our life today. The wilderness that is been figured out in the book of Numbers is like our life today when we are in the midst of our trials and tribulations. When the bills are coming and you have no money to pay, wife or husband acting up, children's also acting up, your jobs is on the peril of losing you. Now, whom are you going to trust and run on with these kinds of problems that we have? And most times, we forget that there is Yah in the midst of it. But we don't see it that way. In Numbers chapter 11, verse 5, this is what the Israelites said. During the time that there's no food that they can eat except the manna that they have in the wilderness. Now remember the story, when this manna came the first time, they were so joyful because they're enjoying the manna that they have. But after a couple of while, even the manna that they were rejoiced way back then, they are tired of eating it. And sometimes we don't know when to stop asking. We don't know when we're going to say we're content of something. In Numbers chapter 11 verse 5, the Israelites says, "We remembered the fish which we ate without cost in Egypt, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now," they said, "our being is dried up. There's nothing to look at but this manna." You know, this morning in the Philippines, I heard news from our brothers and sisters that most of them are not in the sanctuary, not because they were ill or they are sick. They were not able to be in the sanctuary because they have no money to spare to go to the sanctuary. They have no food on the table. That's why most times they were forced to work during Sabbath. But sometimes we don't see that way here in America. We have food on the table, and sometimes we want what is not on the table. We have clothes in our closet, but sometimes we don't want that clothes that is in the closet, and we want to buy more. We have shoes on the shoe rack, and we cannot even count it in our fingers, but we don't want that shoes because we want another shoes. And sometimes we don't know when is enough for us. During the time of the Israelites, when the manna came from heaven the first time, they are rejoicing. But when everything is dried up except the manna, they're starting to complain. They forgot everything that what they have seen as miracles of their life. Us too. We easily forget that whatever we have in this life is not because of the works of our hands. It's not because of our husband doing a good job. It's not because our hand do it for us. No, it is not. We forgot that it is Father Yah with His mercy that is giving us every day. We are able to wake up in the morning and do what we need to do. And sometimes we easily forget how we close to Him, and most times how far we are from Him. Because we are the one who made ourselves away from Him because of this life. We easily forget who He is. We forget that everything that we have is because of Him. During the time of the Israelites, they forgot who Father Yah is. They forgot who made the pillars of light or the pillars of fire to guide their way every night. They forgot to give the pillar of clouds, who give them shade during the day for them to travel. The same thing with us. When we ask Father Yah to give us jobs, we are so joyful for that job. But then at the end of the day, we get promoted with that job and we forget who gave that promotions to us. We even fail to discern that Father Yah's blessing has no sacrifices entwined with it. You were promoted as a manager, but you are going to work during the Sabbath. And you think it is a blessing from Father Yah. No, it is not. It is a blessing from the devil. Why? Because anything that Father Yah gave as a blessing, He will not sacrifice His Sabbath for you, nor to anybody. But we forget to discern that. Why? Because we think it is Father Yah. But it is the one. We are the one who is saying that to ourselves, that it is from Father Yah, even though it is not. We easily forget to give that job to us in the beginning. In 1 King chapter 11, here's another story of a king who was chosen among the Israelites. He was called Jedediah in the beginning because he was loved by Father Yah. But his name was changed to Solomon. Now, when Solomon became a king, he started to follow the footprints of his father David. But there's one thing that Solomon forget. When Solomon asked for Father Yah to give him wisdom to how to lead his people, Father Yah said, I like what you said. And because of that, I will add you more of that blessings. He gave Solomon wealth that cannot be counted, and he gave him the wisdom above all human beings. But during the reign of Solomon for 40 years, he forgot Father Yahweh is. Because during his time, he forgot for one rule that he told to those people who is going to be king. Thou shalt not make yourself available to those women that is not from your kinsfolk. And we know the story. Solomon married 1,000 women, 700 from the princesses outside his kingdom, and 300 concubines. And we know the story. This is what the story says in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 3. We are going to do it in verse 2 first. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 2, he says, from the nations of whom Yahweh had said to the children of Israel, you do not go into them, and they do not go into you, for they shall certainly turn away your hearts after their mighty ones. But Solomon said, clung to this in lust. Now, if you notice, I changed the word love in lust, because that's not love in there. How can you afford to have 1,000 wives? Mathematically, you cannot even do it. Even if you do it one night, the only way you can do it is after 3 years, you're going to see the same woman. For after 3 years. Out of his wisdom, did Solomon figure that out? Nope. Because he easily forget who is his Elohim. And because of that, he says in verse 3, and he had 700 wives and princesses and 300 concubines. You know what happened? And because of these wives he got, turned away his heart. When we have everything in our fingertips, when we command the world in our one word, we thought we are who we say we are. We live like the Joneses our neighbors like the Joneses, as Pastor Isaac will always say. We saw the Joneses have, what you call that thing? Mercedes-Benz, and you want the Mercedes-Benz too. You have already won. But you want the Mercedes too. And then you see the Cadillac and you say, you want the Cadillac too. I told my wife, I said last night, when we have a neighbor who just moved away, I don't know if this 2 or 3 years ago, I was so surprised that they have 2 Mercedes-Benz. I said, wow, they are rolling. And then after a year or two, the Mercedes-Benz changed into, what did I say? No. Toyota. And I said, something happening in our neighborhood. And then the other day, I saw that their car is not Toyota anymore. It's a Jeep. I said, uh-oh. Now, you see, sometimes we just don't know when we are going to be satisfied with our bling-blings, isn't it? You know, I remember Pastor Isaac, when do you have your truck? Yeah, I have. And he has an aircon with it? Yeah, 2. What do you mean by 2? Yeah, we have, you know, when you open the window, you have their aircon in there, coming, left and right. I don't know the exact word, Mother, but it is like that, okay? Now, what we're saying here is we don't know when we satisfied ourselves with the amenities that we have right now. During the time of Solomon, he just easily forget who Father Yah is. That's why he is the one who wrote this in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 10. This is, I believe, writings of Solomon on the last part of his life. He said in verse 10 of chapter 11 in the book of Ecclesiastes, "Therefore remove vexations from your heart, and put away evil from your flesh. For youth and dawn of life are futility." That's true. And you know, after that, he write this in chapter 12 verse 1. He says, "Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth." He did not say, remember Father Yah during the time of your, you know, when you're almost at the end of your life, when you are 70 or 80. He did not say that. He says, remember Father Yah when you are still young and strong and can do the word of Father Yah. That's what Solomon was saying. Because Solomon failed this in his life. Now remember, he became a king for 40 years, but he made 1,000 wives for that 40 years of service. Now I don't know how much of those years was given to Father Yah and how many of those years was given to his husbands. I have one wife, and sometimes, you know, my time is not enough for my wife only. I only have one. And how much if I have 1,000? I might be going to kill myself that way. One is more than enough. Isn't it, Minister Johnson? See? Remember, Father Yah, Solomon said, in the days of your youth, before the evil days come. Are we just remember Father Yah when things is not going smoothly in our lives? But if we are okay, when everything is okay, financials are okay, bills are okay, well, you don't want Father Yah next to you. You said, Father Yah, I can do this. Just stay there next. I will call you when I need you. Is that what we do most times? Yes. But when evil comes, we go run straight to him and ask Father Yah to help us. But before that, you don't even talk to Father Yah. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near when you say, I have no pleasure in them. That is true. And then he said in verse 6, remember him before the silver cord is loose, or the golden bowl is broken, or the jar shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the wheel. When you cannot even wake up by yourself in your own bed, when you cannot even prepare your food on the table and you need somebody to do it for you, now you're going to remember Father Yah? Hoping it might not be too late. We forget Father Yah most times of our life. And we're hoping and praying that Father Yah will give us the time to redeem ourselves. That is true. We ask that Father Yah give us the time to redeem ourselves, because most of us need to redeem our time. We know the days that we spend out there. We're not thinking about Father, we are just thinking for ourselves. But now that we are hearing the word of Father Yah, hoping and praying that Father Yah will prolong our days to redeem those times that we missed. In Hosea chapter 13 verse 6, now here's another story. In Hosea chapter 13 verse 6, he's talking about the Israelites when they were full during their time. Hosea said, chapter 13 verse 6, it says, when they were fed, they were satisfied. And when they were satisfied and their heart was exalted, you know what happened? They forgot me. You know, sometimes we just don't know when to stop in this life. We care so much of this life that we forgot that there is life after this. Sometimes we care this life more than we care about the life after. We forgot that we are so blessed if we reach 80, as Moses said during his time. Minister Johnson probably is the oldest here. Probably he's 81, 82. We are so blessed if we are going to reach Minister Johnson's age and with the same strength as he has right now. We don't know that. But ask yourself, how many of those years you made service to Father Yah? You made yourself available to Father Yah with those years that you were on this earth. Did you care enough time for Him, or you spend more time caring for this type? You know what is written in Luke chapter 12? It says in Luke chapter 12 verse 15. Sometimes we forget this. Luke 12:15. And he said unto them, take heed. Now, to whom Rabbi is talking? He's talking to the world? I don't think so. He's talking to his disciples. And today, he's talking to us, the chosen one, the one who was promised to inherit the promise being given to Abraham. We are the one today that will inherit that promise. That's why he's saying, take heed and beware of what? Covetousness. The greed. You know, we're given 6 days to work, isn't it? But sometimes because of our greediness, we even take the 7th day to do our work. To do what we want. That's greed. We are given 6 days to work, but sometimes we need to do work also during the Sabbath. That's greed. Because you're taking something that's not for you. That's stealing as well. Because it is given that 7 days, the Sabbath of rest for Father Yahweh, but you're doing it for yourself. That's stealing, and that is greed. And that's covetousness. And sometimes we don't know that. Beware of covetousness. Why? Because for a man's life consists not in the abundance of the things which he possesses. Did you forget the word that says, what can you exchange even if you acquire the wealth of the world, but you're going to lose your soul? Can you buy your way up going to heaven? No, you can't. No, we can't. But that's what we do. Sometimes we forget that after this life, there is judgment. We forget that. Hebrew chapter 9 verse 27. That's what it says there. Hebrew 9:27. Here's what it says. Hebrew chapter 9 verse 27. Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27. He says, and as it is appointed unto man to what? To die once. Whatever we do in this life, no matter how old we are going to die, we are going to die one day. Our time will come. It has been appointed for humans to die once. And then what? And after this, the judgment for the second life. We know that there is a second life, and that second life is life everlasting. But why most times we live in this world as if this is only the life that we want to? Why? Why? Now that's a question that I've been struggling to answer. Why we decide and do things as if this is only the life that we are after for. We care so much of this life, that is true, that we even compromise our faith. We love this life so much that sometimes we forget who Father Yah is. We love our wife or husband more than Father Yah. We spend more time with them than Father Yah, which is true. We love our children more than Father Yah. Admit it or not, yes. From the pulpit down to our youngest children, we spend more time to them than more time to Father Yah. We forget the word that is written, those who love the father, the mother, their siblings, your brothers and the sisters, and everything that you have in this earth more, we are not worthy of His promise. We forget that because we easily forget that whatever in this world is going to be burned by fire one day. We forget that. We easily forget the word that we have heard and understand in this pulpit. We easily forget who we are on this life. We are just temporary in this world. We are living a borrowed time. But the life that comes after this is everlasting. But we forget that too. Because we live in this life as if it is the end of the world and the end of this life. No, it is not. And the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, verse 25. In the book of Nehemiah, it says, during the time of Israelites, this is what prophet Nehemiah said. Verse 25. He's giving the story. It says, and they, the Israelite people, captured walled cities and rich land and possessed houses filled with all good, cisterns already dug, vineyards and olive trees and fruit trees in plenty. So they ate and were satisfied and grow fat and delighted themselves in your great goodness, which is true. We praise Father Yah for those blessings. But how long are we going to praise Him? How long? Because in verse 26, He said, but they became disobedient and rebelled against you and cast your Torah behind their backs. Isn't what we are doing sometimes? You know, sometimes we know it is Shabbat, but we are never found in His sanctuary. We are somewhere Probably we are in the mall shopping, or we are in our vacation, or doing something that should not be. We forgot. I will raise my hand. 2 of them. I forgot. But when we hear this word, hoping and praying that, we come to the realization how easily we forget Father Yah is in this life. During the time of the Israelites, they too forget. They kill your prophets who had warned them and to bring them back to yourself. And sometimes you are angry with the one speaking in the pulpit because, no, it pertains to you. As if it is my message. No, it is not. It is from him. You don't want the speaker because you don't want what he is talking about. We get that most times. Therefore you gave them into the hand of their enemies, who distressed them in the time of their distress when they cried to you. Now here we go. You heard from heavens. That's why when life besets us with those decisions that we made wrong, we ask Father Yah for forgiveness, and we tell Father Yah it is going to happen again. And Father Yah forgive us, as always, a forgiving Father, and He brought us back. And then after that, what they do? Hear what it is? And according to your great compassion, you give them saviors who save them from the hand of their enemies. And then verse 28, what happened? But after they had rest, they turned their back again to do evil before you. It's not what we are doing. Yes, it's true. And sometimes when we ask for forgiveness, it might going to happen again soon, because we are going to go astray again and ask again for forgiveness, which is true. But when are we going to learn our ways? We easily forget. We easily forget who Father Yah is. In Isaiah chapter 17 verse 10, hoping that this one will not happen to us. Isaiah 17 verse 10, this is what Father Yahweh told to Isaiah to tell to the people of Israel during their time. Isaiah 17 verse 10. This is a prophecy given to them. This is before the 70 years captivity in Babylon. He's saying this as a warning before that time comes. But they did not heed the warning of Isaiah. That's why the 70 years captivity happened. And it is a warning to us all too. Isaiah 17 verse 10, he said, because you have forgotten the Elohim of your deliverance, and have not remembered the rock of your stronghold, therefore you shall plant pleasant plants and set out foreign seedlings. By day you make your plant to grow, and in the morning you make your seed to flourish. But the harvest is a heap in the day of grief and incurable pain. You work until you're tired. You work 7 days a week, 24/7. But baby, nothing is going to happen to you to make you prosper, because we forget our Elohim. We have the strength probably to do it, but we forget Father Yah is. That's why no matter what we do in this life, we will never be prosper, because we forget Father Yah. Father Yah is not even in the midst of our decision making. He is at the backside. He is not even included in the equation. You talk to yourself and to yourself alone, and nobody can give you advice. because you think we are grown in this life and we know what we are doing. But to tell you honestly, we don't. We don't even know what we want in this life. I will raise my hand. We don't even know what we want in this life. We ask a lot. But most of those things that we ask, we are going to think about now. Those things that we asked before, it's not what we want. In Ezekiel 23:35, Ezekiel 23:35, this is what he said also. Now this is also a prophecy for the people of Israelite during their captivity. Ezekiel 23:35 said, "Therefore thus said the Master Yahweh, because you have forgotten me and cast me behind your back, therefore you shall bear your wickedness and your whorings." This is given by Ezekiel before the 70 years captivity, because Ezekiel was the first one to be in Babylon, and he prophesied this before the fall of Jerusalem during the time of Zedekiah the king. It's a prophecy and a warning to us all too, because we forgot who Father Yah is in our life. That's why another word in Hosea, this is what it says. Hosea chapter 13 verse 7. "So I am become like a lion to them, and like a leopard I watch by the way. Like a bear robbed of her young, I attack them and rip upon open the enclosures of their heart, and there I devour them like a lion, and wild beasts tear them apart." This is what Father Yah did to the Israelites during their time. Father Yah forbid it's not going to happen to us. Because we all know warning comes before our destructions. Everything is good for now, yes, temporarily, yes. But if we want to be good always, remember Father Yah. In everything that we do, remember Him always. Don't forget the one who gave us and wake us up in the morning. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 16, oh, not Thessalonian, 1 Timothy should I say. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 16. Here's a warning given in the New Testament. It says, "Take heed unto whom? To thyself." He is not asking us to take heed against your neighbor or against anybody else. It says, "Take heed unto yourself, unto the doctrine, continue in them." This word that you hear right now, take heed. All of us. "And beware," and continue in them. "For in doing this thou shalt both save yourself and them that hear thee." You're not only going to redeem yourself and save yourself, but also those who proclaim the word that you hear, to your family first, and to those that you're acquainted with. Take heed to the word. That's why we always come here in the sanctuary to listen to the word that Father Yah is given to those speakers. Father Yah never forgotten to give His word. Every pastor and ministers have always the word ready for them to preach. That's why even though our Pastor Wesley is not available for today, we are here for another word. The service will go on regardless who is the speaker, as long as the speaker's word is from Father Yah. We don't look at the speaker who he is. We look for the word of the speaker. And we are so blessed that we have the word for today. In the book of the Romans, chapter 6, chapter 6, verse 20. For when you were the servants of sin, you were free from righteousness. Yes. When we don't know Father Yah, who He is in our life, we don't know what we're doing. We just go with the flow, isn't it? And we are free from righteousness. But then it says in verse 21, it says, but what fruit have you do, or have you have in those things when you are now of ashamed? For the end of those things is death. Now you should know that those things that you have did before, the end of that is death. So anything that we do right now that we are in this faith, if Father Yah is not in there, it is death. And whatever we do in this life will be in the judgment. And we forget that we are chosen among the people to be the light of the world. But if we cannot shine the light that is in us, what's good of that light is? What good of that light? That's why Rabbi Yeshua said, if you have the light, you are not going to hide that light and put a bushel in it. You should put that light above the mountain so that others can see it. But if we cannot do that because of the things that we are doing is not even good to be example at, what good is that light? We love our family, yes. We love our children, yes. We do everything for them, yes. But do you remember what Rabbi Yeshua said? Even the sinners can do that. What's good at it? What Father Yah is saying is, He's not taking away this as our responsibility, but don't forget Father Yah in those things that you do. Don't forget Father Yah. Put Father Yah in the equation. Meaning, when you love your children, you provide everything for them, then provide them also the things that they need for their faith. It's not only the food on the table that is necessary for them. It's not only the clothes that they wear. It's not only the shoes that you buy for them. Give them the cloth of His righteousness. Give them the cloth of His word. Then you can tell them that you did not forget your responsibility as a parent of your children. You don't work 24/7 just for that thing. You get out of your bed 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you drive and going to work. When you get out of your house, your children are still sleeping. When you arrive from work, your children are all still asleep. Because what? You come probably at 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening. What is good of being a father or a mother of that children? There's none. There's none. We forget who Father Yah is in our life, isn't it? We know what is written in Psalm 23 verse 1. What is that says? You memorize this? We know this. Father Yahweh is my shepherd. And what? I shall not want. You will lack nothing. If we remember Father Yah, that will be His. We forgot also it says, I am young and now I'm old, but I've never seen a righteous man to be forgotten, And I've never seen, he said, that his children will beg for bread. None. But we forget those. We easily forget how this life besets us to forget Father Yah. We just worry what is ahead of us. We forgot to worry that there's life after this. In Hebrews chapter 3 verse 12, there's another one. Take heed, brothers. Take heed, sisters, lest there be any of you an evil heart of unbelief. Now, what is he saying? He's saying what you are in this life, no matter what you need, no matter what you are in this life, if you believe that Father Yah told you the story that He will never forsake you nor forget you, that's the story that you need to remember. You forget Matthew chapter 6 verse 33 that says, seek first His kingdom and His righteousness. And all the things that you need in this world will be added unto you. You worry about your children? If they can eat 3 times a day, do first the will of the Father, and Father will take care of those. Why? It is written that if the lilies of the field and the birds of the air that did not even, work their way, was clothed and provided that Father Yah, isn't much more to you? That was been bought with the price of the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach on that stake. You don't put Father Yah and bind His hands that He cannot do anything for you, my brothers and sisters. Lest there be any of you an evil heart of unbelief. Don't you know who Father Yah is? You forget that already? Brothers and sisters, we should remember and go back who Father Yah is and think who we are in this world. We are the chosen people. But sometimes we talk, we walk, and we work as if we are not. Because if we do believe in unbelieving, it says we depart from the living Elohim, which is true. Did we forget in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6? Because without faith, it is impossible. We drove every day. We drive those dangerous highways. But whom do you think take care of us? Yesterday, when me and my driver, I'm sorry, my brother Romano, well, he is my driver because I'm the oldest. So yeah, when we were driving yesterday, it's raining too hard. Then all of a sudden, Brother Romano saw one car just in the ditch, and the top of the car is almost covered by water. And I'm just wondering, I pray that whoever the driver is, get out of that car alive. That's in Baton Rouge. See, we don't know who is our Father is in our life. Do we easily forget? No, we should not. We should not. It's hard to live in these days, yes. Now remember, in my country, you know how much gas is in the Philippines? It's almost half day work. That's 1 gallon. That's 1 liter. It's almost 150 pesos. You know how much per day? It's 300 pesos. So you're talking about hardship. Maybe you're not there yet. We are spoiled people. And sometimes we forget that. In 2 Peter in chapter, did I say 2 Peter? Chapter 1 verse 10. In 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10, it says, "For this reason, brothers and sisters, all the more do your utmost to make firm of your calling and choosing." We did not choose him. That's what it says, right, in John? But he chose us. And that alone is a blessing. That alone is a blessing. Therefore, maintain our calling, maintain our choosing. For if you are doing these matters, you shall never stumble at all. Oh, did we forget that if he is the one who gave us this faith, then he can do also to guide us through the finish line? This is not, because he is the author and the finisher of our faith. Don't forget that. No matter what life brings us in this life, because if this is hard already, baby, it will be harder in the coming days to come. It will be harder. But no matter what life brings us, we don't forget Father Yah, who He is in our lives. We don't forget Father Yah, who He is in our lives. Now, this is our last verse, I think. In Psalm chapter 119, verse 71. It was good for me that I was afflicted. Are we going to complain when we have beset with trials and tribulation? We should not. Just like when we correct our children when they committed wrongs, we chastise them, not because we hate them. We chastise them because we love them. The same thing with us. Whatever is happening to us, sometimes we are going to be beset with trials and tribulations. But remember those that is written in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 5 and 6. Father Yahweh said, "I will chastise those to whom that I love." That's what He said. That's why in Psalm 71 said, "It was good for me that I was afflicted." Why? That I might learn your laws, your statutes, your commandments. And we should learn from our mistakes. We should not forget, Father Yah, whatever we have in this life, whether we are suffering or having problems from our husband or wife, our children and our family, those should not hinder us to continue the faith that He gave in us. We were chosen among, and we should be joyful and thankful for being chosen as one of those brothers and sisters. Hallelujah. We praise Father Yah for His word, and we thank you for giving us the opportunity to hear His word one more time. Hallelujah, hallelujah.